Would you like lunch? Yeah. What would you like for lunch? I don't know. That's not on the menu. I do not know is not on the menu. I could be a real smartass and go in the kitchen, pull down a plate, write on a piece of note, I don't know, and hand it to you. Welcome to Life's a Trip and I Forgot the Map, the podcast that embraces the messy, magical ride of figuring life out. I'm Misty, your host, your fellow wanderer, and here we trade perfection for permission to grow, stumble, laugh, and start over. So grab your emotional snacks, be sure to buckle up, we're in for a ride. Let's hit the road. So, I need to vent and kind of work through a few things that have been going on in my head. I don't know if you ever do this or have done this. I kind of was taught to do this, like conditioned, not only to be a people pleaser, but to sit there and think that my thoughts, my feelings, and my decisions were not mine and I did not understand them and I had no right to make decisions. I went from my mother telling me when I would tell her something about how I felt, she'd like, no, you don't really feel that way. You feel this way. This is what you feel. And I'm like, it's me. I'm the one feeling this. This is what I'm feeling. No, that's not how you feel. You feel like this. I don't know how that works, but I think that was one of the part of the starting of me becoming more of a people pleaser and giving up my rights. And what I mean by giving up my rights is sometimes we put ourselves in situations, or I don't know if we necessarily do it on purpose, or we just get ourselves into these situations. Like I went from my mother controlling me and telling me how I felt and what I thought and what I can and cannot do, to a husband doing it even more and then making me feel crazy because I was doing what he wanted, but it wasn't what he wanted. Don't try to understand that because I still don't. And I was with the man for over 25 years. Still don't understand it. It's like you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. You do everything as perfect as you can to make somebody happy and it pisses them off. You make mistakes, it pisses them off. So he would get mad at me. I would look at him and say, okay, well, give me 5 minutes. I'll piss you off here pretty soon. Then you can be happy. Or I would sit there and say, well, I deliberately make mistakes. That way you have something to bitch about and you can be happy. Anyway, I got to a point in my life where I gave up my decision making. I just quit. I quit thinking. Every time somebody would ask me something, hey, Miss, do you know this? Do you know that? Yeah, I knew. Were they going to listen to me? No. Did they really want the answer from me? No. So what did I say? I don't know. So they would always think I was stupid because I would always say, I don't know. Or if they'd ask me to make a decision, I would tell them decision and it wasn't what they wanted. They didn't like that, so they always went with the other decision. And then it was, you don't know, you're too stupid, you don't know this, you can't make this decision, we're going to go this way. So at some point you just go, whatever. Whatever you want, I don't care, I don't know. Now I've been on that side where I was the one not caring. I don't know. I was doing that. So I was giving up my right to make decisions. And I was allowing somebody else to step in and make those decisions for me. And then we get to a point where we're like, hold up, wait a minute. I'm fully capable of making decisions and making the right decisions for me and sometimes, depending on the situation, for somebody else. I'm sorry, I always look so freaking weird. I just look weird all the time. It does not matter what I do, so we're just going to deal with it. It is what it is. Anyway, so we end up giving up that right to make decisions. And then when we get to that point where, you know what, I need to make this decision. This is what I want. I need to make sure that I'm heard, and people don't hear you anyway, right? They just don't. And you're still like, and then you become rebellious in a way because you're trying to still stand up for yourself and take your power back. And people are like, oh no, you can't do this, and no, you can't do that, da, 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 da. It's like, the hell I can't. I am not dumb. So you know what I did? I just got to where I let stupid happen. You want me to be stupid? I'll play stupid. I'll sit back and watch you make mistakes. Okay, go for it. Have at it. Show me how it's done. You know what ended up happening? They would end up coming back to me. Hey, Misty, do you know how to do this? Yeah, I do. Well, how do you know? I've done the research. I've done it before. I have experience. I've watched all the videos and everything how to do it. I know how to do it. Well, can you show us? Sure, I can. Are you going to pay attention? Are you going to listen? I didn't really say it that way. But I'd have people come up to me, hey, Misty, do you know how to do this? Yeah. Well, how do you do it? And I'd go in and I'm like, well, you do this and you do this and you turn this way and do that way. Or I'd walk up to something that they're doing and just, maybe I was just being a bee and just being a pain. I don't know. But I'd walk up to something that one of our friends or somebody, or even my ex would be doing, and I'd be like, not understanding why they're doing something the way they're doing it when they can see that it's not going to work. And I'll just be like, can I ask you a question just because I'm curious and I don't understand what's going on? They're like, well, yeah, sure. Okay, well, what are you doing and why are you doing it this way? What's the end result you're trying to get? And they would explain to me what they're doing and how it's supposed to turn out. And I'm like, okay. They're like, why? And I'm like, well, because I don't understand if you're wanting this result, why you're taking this way and doing it instead of just going this way. Now, granted, sometimes you have to take the hard way and you do things wrong in order to learn and get better. And okay, I get that. But if you can step back from a situation and clearly see a straight path from A to B with less mistakes or no mistakes, why are you going to take it all the way down to P and then work your way back up to A to B? Like, that just doesn't compute to me. I don't know. Or after they explained to me things, I would still sit back and I'd ask my question, well, what are you trying to achieve? What are you doing? Like, I don't understand. What's it supposed to look like? What's it supposed to do? And they'd explain it, and I would say, okay, and can I ask another question? Can I make a suggestion? Well, yeah, sure, you can make a suggestion. Well, why don't you do it this way? And then you get and then I would show them, and they just be like, I don't want to do it that way. No. It's like, it's a pride thing, right? Granted, I'm not going to say, this is the only time I will say it, and you're lucky it's on recorded because I will never admit to it again. It's all AI. When I'm wrong, I will tell you I'm wrong. Very rarely does that happen, but I will tell you if I'm wrong, if I make a mistake. But a lot of times I will like to step back and just watch stupid happen. Now, granted, there's only so long I can do that. So going back to the original rant that I started off with, giving away your power to somebody else and your decision making to somebody else, and then coming back and being rebellious about it and trying to stand up for your rights, and after you've given away that power and let somebody else control every aspect of your life for so long, for however long that is, can be difficult and frustrating. But the thing is you can't give up your power to begin with. Or you need to sit down and have an actual conversation with the person and say, look, I know that this is what I've done in the past and what I've said in the past, but you need to understand, I still have my rights and I want to be able to make my decisions. I may not always know what it is at the moment, but I still want to be able to do that. I need you to allow me to make my own decisions. I am a human being. I have free will. I can do that. And hopefully with enough communication and understanding, things will be fixed. It should work out that way. Not always. Okay. Why? But the thing is that when you give up so much of your power and your decision making to somebody else and you let them control everything, and they come up to you, or somebody comes up to you and says, would you like lunch? Yeah. What would you like for lunch? I don't know. That's not on the menu. I do not know is not on the menu. I could be a real smart ass and go in the kitchen, pull down a plate, write on a piece of note, I don't know, and hand it to you. We've all seen those videos. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not going to make a decision on what you want to eat, I'm not making that decision for you. And I'm not going to sit here and allow somebody else to turn around and make that decision for you as well. You're a grown adult. You know what you want to eat and what you don't want to eat. You know what you like and what you don't like. You know that better than anybody else does. Why are you trying to tell me you don't know what you want? If you don't know what you want, get up. Let's go to the kitchen. Let's figure it out. Let's brainstorm. What do you have in the house? What would you like to eat? What do you feel like? Let's make that choice together. Let's go in. Let's discuss it. Let's figure it out. And then you can't turn around after you decide to give up all that power and be pissed off at somebody else and start treating the other person like crap because you gave up those decision rights and you allowed them to step in, take control, and start making all the decisions. Does not work that way. You have to take back your control, yes, absolutely. But you cannot treat the other person like crap because you allowed them to take control for so long. You have to communicate with people in a different way. You can't just get angry with them because you've given up all that power and they've been doing it for so long and now all of a sudden you don't want them doing it anymore. I've been there. I've done it. So why is this so frustrating to me? Because I've been on the other side where I gave up all that power. And now I'm on this side where the person who's giving up the power, I'm looking at them, asking them questions, and they're giving away that power, yet wanting to rebel and still maintain power without making decisions. And I find myself very frustrated and very... I don't want to say angry because I'm not really angry. I'm just frustrated and not really understanding how I can talk to this person in a way that's going to be kind, compassionate, with open communication, make them feel safe enough to open up to me and be able to understand what I'm saying, and for me to be able to understand them. When I come up upon a situation, it does not matter what the situation is, I like to look at it from all points of view, from all different perspectives. And I like to evaluate the situation before I get into it and start opening my mouth and saying things. Do I always do that? No. Do I always do it correctly? No. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe because I'm human. I make mistakes. I say things I don't mean to say. I do try to communicate with people properly most of the time, but I can't always do it if the other person is receptive and you're not. And I'm just not I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. Thank God. But I'm trying to understand if a person can see, maybe they just can't see it. I could see it. When I was doing it, I knew what I was doing, but I felt powerless at the time. So now being on this side and having the person do that to me, like give away their power and tell me, I don't know. I'm finding myself getting really frustrated because it's like, well, then think about it. It take what, not even 5 seconds for you to kind of think about it? Oh, I don't know what we have. Here's a novel idea. Let's get off our lazy butts and go to the kitchen and find out. Let's go look. I don't have a problem making your food, but let's go look. Let's go see what we have. Let's go talk about it. Let's go figure it out. If I know something, I will usually throw out a few different ideas, and then they tell me, oh, I want this. Baby steps. Baby steps. Why do people frustrate me so much? I used to be one of the most patient people in the world. I mean, I could sit there and take people's crap until the end of the earth. And somehow my ex and all my kids I'm just exhausted. I can't do it anymore. I don't have that. I mean, maybe it's because I've given away my power so much and I've done so much to please everybody else that I've stood on the sidelines. I've been that person on the sidelines watching everybody else make decisions and go out there and do what they wanted and get things done. And then when I start, they're like, you can't do crap. You're too stupid. You're not talented. You can't do that. You're not smart enough. You just shut up and go sit in the corner over there. I've actually had a family member do that to me. 2 of them. I've had one sit there and tell me, oh, you can't go with us to this place because you have too many kids. And then they end up taking everybody else in the house except me. And we're talking like 15 different people going. And I'm the only one they don't want to go. They leave me there at their place. It's not my home, it's theirs. I've had them do that. I've had another person in the same family look at me after I've asked them if I could help them do stuff when they're cooking and cleaning. Can I help you out? Can I help? What? Do you want me to do something? Can I help? No, you just go sit in that corner and shut up. Like, how do people treat other people that way? Where's that point where you feel so entitled that you have the audacity and you feel like you have the right to treat other people like crap? Like, I know somebody who never gets out of their bed unless they absolutely positively have to leave their house, or they have to go to the bathroom, go smoke a cigarette, or get their coffee, and they go back to bed. They have either 1 to 2 devices on all the time. They never leave their bed. They don't make decisions, and they get indignant and feel entitled. They get angry and bitchy if you do not serve them 3 times a day the food in their bed to them in bed. If you ask them to clean up after their dog. If you ask them to help you in any way, shape, or form. Or if you ask them to go and make some food for everybody else, or even do dishes. I've had one person tell me the other day when she cooked And if I am not at your house and I'm your caregiver, if I'm not at your house, it is not my position to walk in there the next day and clean the kitchen because you decided to leave an entire mess and think that it's my job to clean it up. I'm not a maid. I'm a caregiver, not a maid. And I'm not a free maid, and I'm not your servant. We work together. I'm my own boss. We work together. But then that person had the audacity to look at me and say, well, they're this person's dishes. No. You cooked, you eat, every single day you eat here. I've been at this place it's been over 2.5 years. We're working on 3 years. And this person has cooked a total of 3 times the entire time. They don't do anything at all. But yet they get very indignant if you ask them to help out. And I told her she had to go and do the dishes because I'm not a maid. It's not my responsibility to come in after you've made dinner and dirtied every dish in the house to come in and clean up after you. I'm not doing that. It's not my job. I don't get paid for that. It is not in my contract. She was very upset. I've gotten to where maybe I just really should find a different job. I'm, like I said, I used to be such a patient person. But the more I give to other people and the more I take care of other people, the more I'm seeing how devalued they treat me, they treat people in my profession. We're devalued. It's thankless, or if they're giving thanks, it's hollow. It's there's no meaning or depth to it. People are inconsiderate. It's like, I'm probably gonna get fired after this. But the thing is, and I'm not trying to be mean to anybody or like call them out and just be like whatever. I'm just like, I'm trying to work through this in my head and trying to understand every point of view from it, because it's just really frustrating. And to know that I was in that position where I gave up that power and those decision-making abilities. Like, I was giving my decisions to somebody else to make for me. I want to really help these people, or people I work with, and other people in general, to feel powerful in themselves. To feel like they have enough self-worth, self-respect, self-value. I know self-worth and value are kind of the same. They're somewhat similar. But I want people to understand that they can do those things. They don't have to give up that power to somebody else. And then you have the right to take that power back, but do it in a kind manner where the other person's going to understand instead of being butthurt and causing more issues. There's not the kind of communication where one person's talking and the other person's listening. It's just they're both talking, nobody's listening, and they're both getting hurt. And it's like, I just don't get it. I don't understand. I think the older I get and the more I'm around other people, the less I understand people. And the more I'm like, I go back to being a hermit. Just like, I think it'd just be safer if I just go back to being a hermit and stay out of people's lives. Because it's like, wow. I used to sit around and watch my mom and talk to my mom about stuff. And I'm like, Mom, why are you looking at people like that? Don't be judging them. She's like, oh, I'm not. We just come from a really long line of people watchers. Have you ever sat there and watched people? They're pretty fascinating. She used to tell me, because we had this really in our house, we had this really big picture window. I mean, this picture window was a good like 8 to 10 foot wide and a good 6 foot tall. It was just this great big picture window in the front living room. And she's like, we don't even need the TV. We just open the curtains. There's a whole drama outside. Because we lived in one of those neighborhoods that wasn't necessarily the safest in town. So it was like, I mean, it really wasn't. When I was little, when I was like, what age was I in? I was like maybe middle school. Early middle school, somewhere around there. It was like every other day, or at least once a week, a kid would get run over. One night I was at home alone, and I was home, and I had a friend or two over, and we were sitting there listening to the stereo in the living room, had the TV off, one of those rare occasions, right? We're sitting there listening to the stereo in the living room, and all of a sudden, you can hear this other voice come through. And it's like it was getting the CB radios were cutting through the radio, and they were talking about my neighborhood, and that there was a pregnant lady at the end of the block, and she had gotten stabbed, and then a kid got ran over, and then they were talking about all this stuff, and my mom kept telling me, "You stay down here, don't go down there. Don't talk to strangers. Men like little girls like you that are blonde hair, blue eyes. They like them and they like to steal them. Just stay home." I'm like, oh my gosh. But it was just, so there was always something going on, and just, but I don't like catch myself just sitting there watching people in public. And I'm thinking, that guy ought to be one of the creepiest people out here. It's like, come from a long line of people watchers. I don't know what I'm thinking. I'm just watching. It's like, God, it must be so creepy. But I don't know. I don't understand people, and I'm just trying to understand this specific situation, because it's not my job to fix anybody, and I don't want to fix people. I just don't want that responsibility. But if I have insight, and at some point that insight becomes valuable and it can help somebody and they want that insight, then I want to be able to have that and pass that to them. But I also think that insight would help strengthen my ability to communicate with other people and understand people from different points of view. So, yeah, I think I don't know, let's just face it, I'm just a weirdo. I'm just odd. And I'm trying to understand people. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. Anyway, thank you for letting me rant. Hopefully you guys can help me out here, because I think I'm not seeing something or understanding something somewhere. Or maybe I'm just too wound up right now to see it. I might see it later, but right now I'm just ready to scream. Why? I don't know. But thank you. So if you got anything from this episode, please like, comment, share. To anybody and everybody, I'm hoping that something comes from this, because it just needs to be, I think we need to talk about things that are bothering us. And if somebody you know is giving up that power, that right to make their own decisions, maybe you should start saying something. Like, look, I realize you don't understand or don't know what you want right now, but let's take a minute and look at the options. Or if they say, I don't know, okay, well, that's not on the menu. That's not on the agenda. That doesn't tell me anything. You obviously know something, so give me some feedback so we can work through this. Let's stop and take a breather and figure out what you want, because I don't want to take that power from you, and I don't want to be the one making your decisions, because it's not going to make you happy. And to be honest, I don't think I deserve to have that kind of power over anybody. I think everybody should have their own free will and be able to make their own decisions. They know what's right for them. Right? So anyway, I'm going to quit yakking at you. But if you do know somebody else who can either get something from this episode or you have something to comment on it, let me know. I'm here. But like, comment, and share this episode so we can help me reach other people that may need something from my rant that they can understand or need to understand, or maybe they have something that I need to understand, because I'm open to listening. I'm open to communicating with people. I try to do it effectively and in a way that does not seem like I'm attacking somebody, because I want people to feel safe with me. I don't want people to feel like I'm attacking anybody at all. That's not my deal. My book, The Love She Never Expected, is out. It's out for paperback, and on for Kindle. You can get them on Amazon. It is a fantastic book. Let me see if I will post the, the links in the description here so you can go on and get it. The book, the blurb on the back says, Adeline Valley leaves behind a life that looked perfect from the outside but felt empty on the inside. In a quiet mountain town by a still lake, she begins again through art, solitude, and the slow work of remembering who she is. When she meets Daniel, a storybook owner, building a life rooted in warmth and belonging, connection arrives in a form she never expected. But learning to love again means facing old fears and choosing herself, even when it's hard. The Love She Never Expected is a gentle, emotional journey about healing, courage, and discovering that right kind of love doesn't ask you to disappear. It asks you to stay. So, The Love She Never Expected, you can get it on Amazon. I will put the links in the description. Also, I am currently working on a workbook to go with this book as a companion book. This is a story. However, the underlining lesson in it is self-discovery and self-love. And it's written in a way that you really don't always notice. You don't notice it right away that that's what you're doing. So the companion book, the workbook, will be able to help you reflect on you and your thoughts and your feelings, and helping you regain or learn to love who you are, and how to sustain that. So keep your eye out for the workbook. It will be out soon, but this one you can go ahead and get now. Thank you guys for being here, and I will see you next time. And next week we will probably have a special guest on. I'm super excited. Hopefully, if everything goes right, we'll have that guest on. I'll have them on, and we'll be able to learn somebody else's perspective and things that they're going through and have gone through, and how they're dealing with that, and so we can learn, grow, and be able to improve everything. So remember, guys, life's a trip. We're not handed the map. Sometimes we want to get frustrated, rip up that map and throw it away when we've written it and drawn it out ourselves. But it's okay. We just have to take a step back, vent a little bit, write it out, get it out, so we can process it, talk it through, and then we can go back and look at the situation and reevaluate things from a calmer position and work through it the right way. Catch you guys next time. Thank you. Well, that's a wrap for today's episode of Life's a Trip. If you're figuring it out as you go, same here. Hit follow, leave a review if you're feeling generous. And remember, you don't need the whole map. You just need the next step.